Yes, now you can start.
So I think you should give me host permission and want to share my screen.
Sure. Just a minute. Can you check?
Yeah, so it's good.
Sure. Okay.
Hi. So in this session, we're gonna talk about subdomain takeover.
Yes. Well, before that, can you introduce yourself? I think it's better to know you as well.
Sure. So
Because
this is Alexander Tangavela, so also known as Wallace Flight. So I'm a bug bounty hunter. So and I do train bug bounty hunters and pen testers. This is all about me. Yeah. So before we go into subdomain takeover, so let's talk about the CNAME record. So CNAME record is type of DNS record. So used to map alias name to canonical name. So for example, here we have the here we are querying for the CNAME. So here we have used the command to query CNAME record for this subdomain. So and in the response in the answer section, so we got the CNAME here. So it's a canonical name. Now this canonical name is linked with this alias name. Now whenever we as a user, whenever we visit this support.over2.allegiant.com, what will happen? The request will go to the CNAME record. So that means over2.zendesk.com, and it will result to this IP address. Now after that, the content will be we can see the content of this canonical name. Okay, so whenever we browse to this domain, we're actually seeing the content of over2.zendesk.com. Okay, so why this is? So now developers wants to use the cloud service, and they want to host the web application on cloud, and they want to appear the domain name as their host name. So for that they use this CNAME record. Now if you are using a third-party service for hosting our application, and if you don't have this CNAME functionality feature, then we have to go to the browse to over2.zendesk.com, and we have to we'll be visiting their directly we'll be visiting their subdomain, right? So by using this CNAME, we are actually mapping that CNAME and canonical name. Now we are just visiting our as a user, we are just visiting the allegiant.com as a customers, and they will see the content of zendesk.com. So this is why the CNAME record is used for. Now this looks good. So there is nothing issue with this feature, as long as there's a misconfiguration. So now here we have another example. So here I have queried the CNAME record for another subdomain. So here, if you take a look at this answer section, previously we had only one CNAME. Now we have two CNAMEs. So this is the case. So sometimes you'll see multiple CNAMEs. So what will happen when you visit this next.example.com subdomain? So what will happen? The request will go to webflow.io, the first CNAME. And what will happen? This first CNAME will redirect the request again to the second CNAME. And this will resolve to this IP address. And then we can see the content of this IP address. So this is how the forwarding is working. Okay, so if we have multiple CNAMEs, then it will redirect until it reaches the last CNAME. Okay, so this is something you should understand. Okay, so now let's talk about this subdomain takeover. So what is it? So subdomain takeover occurs when a subdomain is pointing to third-party service that has been deleted.
पैसा दिया क्या उसने पोलर ने?
But the DNS entry is retained. Okay, so here when we use the third party, for example, if you want to use the Heroku cloud service, in Heroku we can host our application, right? So as a developer, what they will do, they will create the application and they'll host the application on the Heroku service. So now, once they hosted the service, they can access the application, right? So here they're using the third-party service. Now, suppose we are using some other third-party instead of Heroku. So at the time, what we'll do, we will move our application to some other cloud service, and we will remove the application from the Heroku. So once we remove that application from the Heroku, so what the developer should do, they should also reconfigure the CNAME record in the DNS. So they should do the DNS configuration. And if they forget to do the DNS configuration, and what will happen, an attacker can claim the CNAME in the third-party service. So for example, here we have an example. So here we have an application. So this is the application belongs to the example.com organization. So they have the basic application here. Now they want this application to be hosted on cloud service. So what they're doing, they are using the Amazon bucket service. So here, since it's a static application, they are going for the Amazon bucket. So S3 service. So in S3 we can store files, static files, and we can host the content as well. So we can host the static application in S3. So what they're doing, they're going to Amazon S3, and they are signing up and they are doing login, and they are getting the bucket name. So they should create the bucket name, and they should use the region. So they're creating this bucket name on this region. So they need to select these options, and they will create the buckets. So once it is created, they can host their application on Amazon S3 service. So once we created the buckets, so they will provide the this URL. Okay, so what they should do, they will get this URL and they will configure the DNS. So here in the DNS, in their DNS record, so they will update this CNAME. For example, they will map this app.example.com to this CNAME. Now, once it is mapped, so whenever you visit app.example.com, so what it will happens, the request will go to DNS resolver, and it will return the IP of these details of this CNAME record, and the request will go to the bucket, and we can see the content of the bucket. Okay, so whatever application hosted on this bucket will be accessible by this method. So now this is the how the process, simple process, application hosting process will look at in the when we are hosting in the Amazon S3. So now what happened? We have the same image here. So, but big modification here. So here we have the application, and we are going to. Previously we have created the developer created the bucket name and region. So now what happened? Maybe they have decided to not to use this Amazon S3 service. So what they did, they deleted the bucket name. Okay, so they deleted the bucket from the Amazon S3 service. So now they are no longer using this service, but they forgot to reconfigure this DNS record. So they left this DNS record without modifying, without removing this CNAME entry. So now what happening now? So whenever you try to access the application, this URL, you will get no such bucket because the bucket has been deleted from the Amazon S3. So that's why we are getting this no such bucket error. So now what an attacker can do, he can actually reclaim. He can actually log into create an account on Amazon S3, Amazon console, and he can create a S3 service, and he can create the bucket name and the same region. So now he's creating the bucket name and the region. So the final URL will look like this one. So now what will happen, since he created the bucket and the CNAME is pointing to this URL. So whenever you visit this application, so you will see the content of the hackers one. So hackers, he created this bucket and he hosted some malicious content on the web application. Okay, so what happened? So whenever you visit this application, so we'll see the content of hackers. So whatever he posted, right? So we'll see the that content. So that's why we are seeing here hacker. So this is the vulnerability here. Hope you understand this concept.
So far, any questions? Like, I know it's just a basic one, but it should be, understandable to everyone. That's why I made it topic to, just a guide to how to do Subdomain Takeover. And did we complete it?
Yeah, so
Well,
let's move to these techniques. So
Okay.
how we can find the subdomains and how we can enumerate the synonym record, all those things. So when it comes to subdomain takeover, the important part is the key part is subdomain enumeration. So subdomain enumeration is the key. So you have to follow all the techniques. For example, you have to follow passive technique and active brute force thing, and we have to do the certificate graphing and recursive enumeration. So all of this. So we need to do all kind of subdomain enumeration, and we have to collect the subdomains. So once we collected subdomains, we can enumerate the CNAME, and we can analyze the CNAME, and we can look for the subdomain takeover. So here, let's talk about this subdomain tool MS. Let's go to the GitHub repo. Yeah, so this is the data prep for MS. So it's a attack surface discovery tool. So using this, we can do a lot of recons. So as part of this MS, we can do we can enumerate ASIN can do the organization enumeration, and we can do the subdomain enumeration, and we can visualize the data also. So we have a lot of things in the MS. So here we are going to use this tool for subdomain enumeration. So if you take a look at this table, we have a lot of sources here. For example, here we have a lot of sources here, third-party APIs, and we have the lot of technique like certificate grabbing and the brute force thing, routing, and all of this. So MS is using a lot of sources and techniques, and it's like mostly all the subdomains. Okay, so it's a Go tool. It's a tool written in Go, so we can install this tool using this snapshot. Snapchat, if you are using the Ubuntu, then we are using the call Linux, then you can go for I think Go install also you can do. So we can run the Go install command, single command, right? Yeah, here. So we can run this command and we can install the tool. That's all. So once we installed, let's take a look at this tool. Yeah, so here we have a lot of subcommands, for example, ms entel, ms enum, ms this. So we're gonna focus on ms enum. So this is the this is where we are gonna do the subdomain enumeration. So let's go into ms enum and let's do the help menu here. So here we have a lot of flags. So ms can do passive enumeration, active enumeration, certificate graphing, all of those things, right? So we're gonna use passive enumeration. So because it's active enumeration will take time because it will do certificate graphing and brute forcing thing, right? So you can use passive. So in passive, it will not do any IP resolution, and it will just grab the data. So it will go to third-party API service, and it will just grab the subdomains, and it will store it in a file. That's all. So it will not do anything else. So the first thing we need to do the configuration. So let's talk about that one. Okay. So before that, why we need to configure this API key? So some of us will not do the API configuration maybe. So why we need to do that? Because when we do this API configuration, we'll be getting a lot of results. So for example, if you take a look at this. So here I first run this tool on PayPal, so without providing the configuration file. So it found 1,300 subdomains, and then I passed my config file. So I have created, I have configured almost all free APIs, And I have run with the config file, and I have got 304 more subdomains. So we are getting 300 plus more subdomains, right? So this is why we need to configure API keys. So if you are not configuring the API keys, you will not get all the subdomains. So that's why it's important to configure API keys. So now let's see how we can configure API keys. So here in the GitHub repo, we can go to examples directory here. So if you click on this, you'll be getting the example config file. So config.ini. So this is the example config file. So we can click on this raw button and we can download this. So we can do the thing. And we need to create this config.ini. Okay, so test it. So here we have the config file now. Let's go to top. So here we have a lot of API services. If you take a look at this one, we have alienvault.com and bbgel.com and big.cloud. So most of these APIs are free. So here you can see, if it is paid, you will see the paid here. If it is free, you will see the free here. Okay, so we can go into each and individual service, and we need to create an account on the service, and we need to grab the API key from the settings page. Okay, so we need to grab it, and we need to configure these API keys here. So for example, if you are configured for a showdown, so you need to go to showdown and you need to register an account, and you need to, once you log in, you can go to accounts, and there you can get the API keys. So once you got the API keys, you need to configure here. So you can uncomment this file. So here, all of these lines are commented, right? So you can uncomment these lines like this. You can remove this pound symbol there, and you can configure API key here. So you need to put your API key here. So this is where you need to put your API key. So once we enter our API key, so like that we need to do configure our API key for all of these services. So we have lot of free API keys, so we can do configuration. So once we configure, we can save the file and we can use it for enumeration. Okay, so the default location for this config file is this is the config default location. So if you go to if you do ls on config ls, so here we'll be having the default config file. Okay, so we need to move this config file there. Okay, so once we can configure APK, we need to move this config file there to the default location. Or else, if you want to store keep the config file in the separate location, then we can use the flag and we can and specify the location of the config file. Okay. Yeah. So this is a sample configuration file. So we can need to edit it like this, and we need to put APK like this. So once we enter the API keys, configure the API keys, you can use AMS enum list, and you can provide your own config file. So if you are having the config file in the non-default location, you can provide the config file using this config flag. If you are having the config file in the default location, so you can no need to mention the config file. So once you loaded this config file, so before loading this config file, if you see the screenshot here, without providing the config file, if you see the screenshot here, so you'll see this there is no stars. That means the API keys are not configured. So once we configure the API keys, so we can take a look at it here. So it is started. That means API keys are configured. So once we configure the API key, we can use this tool. And one more thing, we need to keep an eye on config file because AMS is the developers of AMS is updating their they're including more we can say sources frequently. For example, if you see, take a look at this one, we have if you take this one, we have 2 more new services, right? So they are keep adding this, updating the tool and adding the config file. So whenever need to keep a look on the config file. So if they add a new sources, then you can create a APK for those sources and you can configure that, so that you'll always get the good subdomains, right? So it is always good to keep an eye on config files. And we can use the tool. So here you can use MS help. Here we have various flags. So for passive flag, for passive enumeration, I think there are here flag. So here we have the passive flag. So we can use this passive flag to tell the MS to do this passive enumeration. So it will not do any DNS resolution. So it will be quick compared to root and active flag. So we can use this and we can provide the domain name using D flag. So you can provide a single domain name as well as multiple domain names. So if you have one, so we can use the gamma symbol and we can do the multiple domain name. So now we can run MS and the mode is passive. So we can mention that. Then we can mention the target. Maybe we can take these allegiant.com and we can put the output file. So we can store it in file called allegiant.txt, something like that. And we can run it. So if you are using the config file, if you are keeping your config file in the current location or some other location, so we can use the config options. Otherwise, we know to mention the config option. So it will by default it will load these. The config file will be loaded from the default location. Okay, so let it run. So now once we done the config passive enumeration, we can do the active enumeration also using the AMS. So you need to specify the root flag. Let me cancel it. So we go tab, you can use the active flag. So what it will do the zone transfer also, and it will do the certificate grabbing also. And we can use the active flag and we can use the brood flag. So we can use the brood flag and we can provide the where list using the W flag. So once we done that, it will do the brute forcing thing and you'll be getting more results compared to passive. Okay, so if you don't have much time, you can go for passive, and if you have a lot of time, you can go for active menu, because in active menu only we'll be getting a lot of subdomains compared to passive menu. So it's a good idea to go for active menu. So once we done that, once we grabbed all the subdomains, you can take a look at the subdomains. I think I have already here. Yeah, so you can take counts. So we have to go to 206 subdomains. So here I did not use the config file. Okay, so just now install the MS2 because this is new WSL installation. So that's why we are here having only 206 subdomains. Okay, so if you configure the APKs and if you followed a lot of subdomain technique, you'll be having more subdomains. Okay, so once we enumerate the subdomains, we can feed this tool to another script. So I have created a script called cname.sketch. So it's a simple script. So it will do the it will run the dig command and it will query for the cname. That's all. So we can run it and we can pass the subdomain file. So like this. Okay, so using L option, we can pass the subdomains and we can show the output. Something like this. CSV file. So it will do the DNS enumeration. CNAME, it will query for the CNAME record. So we can see here we have a host here and we have status, and we have the CNAME record. So we can take a look at the CNAME record. So these all are here we can see a lot of third parties there. For example, Adobe.com, AzureFT.net, and OMT.net. So these all are third party. So here we have Zendesk.com. Okay, so they're using a lot of third parties. Okay, so here we have some other domain, and we have CloudFront.net. Okay, We have something SAS.com. We have Azure website.net. They are using Microsoft Azure as well. Azure API.net. Nice. So we got these CNAME records. So going to take a look at the CNAME records. So since it is pointing to third party, so we can visit these subdomains and we can take a look at the CNAME subdomains here. For example, we can go manually go here and we can take a look at the content. Okay, so if we see something interesting on the subdomain, we can check if we can take over the subdomain. So sometimes what will happen. So here we have the domain, right? So we have the, for example, if we take this one, ecom.azurefd.net. Suppose this subdomain is not registered, or else maybe it's expired. So what happened? So this subdomain, this domain will be available for registration. So in this case, what we can do, we can use the service called GoDaddy or Namecheap, and there we can try to claim the domain here. So once we claim the domain, this domain, so if it is available, we can claim that. So once we claimed, and we can create a subdomain called key.com. Can create the record, and we can host our content there. So once we did that, so we can take over this subdomain. So like that we can do. Okay, so we can take a look at these subdomains. Maybe we can use the tools. Maybe we can use the screenshot tool, and we can take a look at the each and every subdomain, and we can see if there is anything interesting, like if there is any fingerprints, and if there is any, we can look for the takeover. Okay, so when we do this CNAME enumeration, you guys know, right? So we can automatically subdomain takeover. Right, we have like you can use the automation tool like Subzi and Nuclei. So those tools are working by fingerprints, right? So suppose you can only use those fingerprints which are already created. Suppose if there is any new vulnerability, subdomain takeover vulnerability exists, if new third-party service is coming to the market, and if they have the vulnerability, then if you are not doing the CNAME analysis, then we may miss those subdomain takeover, right? So that's why we need to use the community templates also, and we need to look for the CNAME record, so that if there is any new third parties coming, and if they have the vulnerability, then we can identify those vulnerability, and we can report it. Then we can create our own nuclear template. Then we can use the right, so we can contribute the community. So that's why it's a good idea to take a look at the CNAME record and look for this. Yeah. So NX domain also here. NX domain also, that means the domain is not exist, so we can register the domain and we can take over it. So no error also, we can do the subdomain in takeover. So here we are following this no error concept here also. So what happened in no error? So the domain will be exist, but the third party service, whatever we are using, right? So there maybe they remove the subdomain, or subdomain name is available to claim, right? So we can claim the subdomain there. Yeah. So once we collected the CNAME, we can look through all the CNAME records, and we can find if there is any sensitive, interesting thing, like we can look for the takeovers. So when it comes to automation, so you can go to the you can use the automation tool like Subzi and Nuclei templates. So we can use it for our workflow. We use it workflow, right? So the first one is PDTM. So it's a you can say a project discovery tool manager. So You can go to PDTM GitHub. So we can manage project discovery tools using this utility PDTM. So when it comes to bug bounty or Appsec enumeration or recon, so project discovery contributed a lot of things here. So they have a lot of tools. You can almost we are using all of the tools in our workflow, right? So if you want to install these tools using one command, or else if you need to install, we need to look for the latest one and to keep you update your tools, right? So in this case, we can use this PDTM and we can manage our tools. So it's a tool written in Golang, so we can install this Golang. So first we need to install Go, and then we can use this command to install this tool. So once we installed it, we can use the tool. So if you type PDTM, yeah. So if you run this tool without any flag, so it will check for the tools, whether it is installed or not installed, whether it is updated or not updated. So it will look for all these tools. We have like 16 tools, and like subfind ID, indexx, NABU, HTTPS, nuclei, all of these tools. So we can install these tools using this PDTM. So if you use the flag, here we can provide the if you want to install a single tool or multiple tool, you can use the I command. Then you can use the you can separate the value. For example, if you want to install nuclei and HTTPX, you can enter it by separating the command. It will only install these tools. If you want to install only one tool, you can do that also. And if you want to install all of these tools, you can use this IA option, and you can use all this install all these systems too. And if you want to update it, so you can do the same. You can update single tool or multiple tools. And also you can remove this tool. You can uninstall. So using this single utility, you can do all of this, which is nice. So if you want to install, so here if you take a look at this, we need HTTPX, then we need nuclei, right? So we can install those tools. So we can use PDTM, and using this I option, you can say install HTTPX and nuclei. Right? So it will download and install these two packages. So HTTPS done and a nuclei done. Great. So once we install, we can use this tool. Yeah, so we can use this HTTPX to resolve live subdomains, right? So we can take a look at this HTTPS. So here we have a lot of options. So for our purpose, we need L option to input a single. Yeah, if you have the file, subdomain file, you can input those file using this L option. And if you want to resolve only one tagger, you can use the R options. And we can enumerate the some other recon data also. For example, if you need status code and content length, content type, then location. So you can enumerate all of this. Then title of the web page, servers. Then if you want to detect the technologies used by the web app, you can do that. And you can detect the IPs. So here also you can do the CNAME enumeration. Okay, so instead of using separate script, you can use this as a CNAME flag, and you can enumerate the CNAME as well. So which is cool, right? And we can do this ASN enumeration, all of them. Okay. So let's use this tool, HTTPS. This is the L flag to unpass our subdomains file. Then if you want to use the port, then you can use the P option, and you can specify the port like ATM 443 and 8080. So like that, you can specify ports also. Okay, so by default, it will block for a port 80443. So let's say the output. So here you can enumerate a status code, content length, title of the page, then CNAME. So you can enumerate all of these details. Then we can store it in a file called HTTPX info.txt. Then if you have large amount of subdomains, And if you want to see the status of the tools processing, right, you can use the states flag. So it will show how many requests completed and how many subdomains left, right? So let's do that. So since we have small subdomains, so here we can see we have status code, then we have content length, then we have title of the web page, then we have the CNAME. So we have all of these things. So we can look into this status code. So here we have 200. Then we can look into this title. So yeah, and we can look into the names. So we can see if there is anything interesting. So if anything is interesting, you can open this your browser and you can check. Okay, so we have 404 here. So if you copy this URL, we can see it's a 404 and it's saying Microsoft Azure Web App. There are 404. So we can visit this subdomains and we can take a look at this error and content. Okay, so I think currently Azure is not vulnerable. I think only few of the domains are vulnerable. So if it is vulnerable, we can take over this subdomains actually. Okay, so we can just review the title, and by take a look at the title, we'll be able to figure out what this app is, right? So we can open this app in the browser and we can confirm that. So this might be vulnerable to subdomain takeover, right? And here we have unavailable. Okay. Here we have another 404 not found. Can copy it and we can see if there is anything interesting. Okay, so not found. Yeah. So once we enumerated all the subdomains, so we have Zendesk. Okay. Anything? Okay. We have another Microsoft Azure, I think. Okay. Okay, so this is also your Azure app is up and running. So we have this title. So we can take a look at this. So it's running Azure. Thank you. Yeah, got this default page. So once we done this enumeration, maybe we can only cut this first line. So once we do the resolution, so we can get only the first thing URL. So we know only this one. So we can get this file, and we can use the AWK to print the first line, right? So you can get the first column using print one. Okay, so we got all the URLs. Maybe you can store it in a file called live.txt. Okay, so we got this file. We got 139 subdomains, alive subdomains, which is great. Okay, so once we done the enumeration, we can run the subdomain takeover tool. So the first one is Subc. Okay, so we go to Subc tab. Okay, so I think they are updating this tool recently. So here we have the I think it's not updated before, so they are updating these things. So we can use this tool. This tool written Go. We can run this, install this tool using Go install, and we can use this tool to find the subdomain. So it's using the fingerprints. So if you go to runner and if you go to fingerprint.json, I think this is the one. Okay, so here we have a lot of fingerprint sites. So the tool is working based on these fingerprints. So here we have the engines, status, fingerprints, discussion, and documentation. If these fingerprints are not updated, we'll be getting a lot of false positive. Okay, so once we install the Subc, we can run Subc. So here we have sub commands like run update version. So let's use the run command. So here we can we have a lot of options. We can if you want to use the single URL, you can use the target, I think. Then if you want to pass this multiple URLs, we can use the targets. We can pass the subdomain. So let's pass the subdomains here. So using targets, can pass the align. So you can pass the subdomain. Also, you can pass the URLs. Okay. So let's run it. Okay. So it is checking against the fingerprint, and it is checking if there is any subdomains matching the fingerprint. Okay. So we have got one unbounce. Yeah. So this tool is they still did not update the fingerprints. That's why we are getting this false positive. Okay. So based on this fingerprint, the tool is working, and if the fingerprint is not up to date, then we'll be getting a lot of false positive. Okay. So yeah. So we need to update the fingerprint. So currently it is not available. So we can use this tool to do the subdomain takeover. And the next tool we all know, it's a great tool for automation, right? So Nickname. So we can use this Nickname. So as part of our subdomain takeover. So we can do a lot of interesting things. We can do all the automation using this single tool, right? So since it's working based on the templates, we can run this tool on any templates, and we can automate the our workflow, right? Recounting. So it's like an engine. So this Nick is like an engine, and templates is like a fuel. Okay, so we can view the templates, and it will you can view the target, and it will run it. Okay, so here the templates we can define the our rules here. So we can, as per this condition, the tool will work. Okay, so let's go to the templates. So if you go to templates, so here we have all the templates. I think we have around 3,000 plus set templates. We have a lot of templates here. Okay. So here, if you go to the takeovers, so here we have this directory called takeovers. So there we have a lot of templates here. Okay, so great. So we can use these templates. If you go to maybe if you go to AWS templates, so here we can say we have ID, unique ID. Then we have the metadata. So here if you go take a look at the tags, they have used the takeover. So we can run the two templates. We can access the templates using a lot of inputs. For example, if you want to access this particular template, you can use the ID and you can access this template. Or else if you want to access all of these takeover template, then we can use the tags. Okay, so if you specify tags and if you use this tag, then it will run all the templates under this tag. Okay, right. So when you run something like this, if they have any typo thing error, right? If you have typo in the takeover, then I think that template will not be included. Okay, so here we have the request, and here we have the condition. So based on this fingerprint, the tool is working. Okay, so yeah, so this is the one of the templates. Like that, we have a lot of templates. Okay, so we can say it's all are up to date. Okay, so they're updating this template and they're fixing. Since we have a large community contributing these templates, we will be getting a lot of new templates and updates. So you guys also can contribute. Okay, so if you come across new CNAMEs or if you come across new services, then you can take a look at the documentation. You can read the documentation. Then using the documentation, you can try to exploit the subdomain takeover. So once you found the exploiter subdomain takeover, you can create your own template and you can run it on all the targets. And also you can contribute to this project. So you can create the template and we can push it here in the GitHub repo. Okay, so here we'll be having only the active templates. For example, I think if you look for the Fastly templates, so we'll not be getting the Fastly templates here because they have removed it because it's not vulnerable now. Okay, so it was edge case before, but it's currently it's not vulnerable. So that's why they have removed the Fastly template. So like that, they'll keep update this. They'll keep update this templates, so we can use these templates for our takeover. Okay, so let's install this new plate. So we have already installed, right? So you can take a look at the options. So nuclear engine. So when you install this nuclear tool, so what will happen? It will automatically download the template. Okay, so we no need to clone the template separately. Okay, so if you download the template, if you install this tool, and if you do ls on your home directory, the tools will be there, the templates will be there. Okay, so it will automatically download the templates. If you run it for the first time, it will do the downloading. Okay, so here we have the options. So if you want to run the template against one URL, you can use the U option. And if you want to do the run the tool on multiple subdomains URL, you can use the L options. So here, so suppose if you want to run only new templates, suppose today we are running the templates, and after 5 days, if you want to run only the new templates, new updated templates, so the templates created within these 5 days, right? If you want to run only those templates, then you can use this NT option. Okay, so only the new templates will be run. So that's the good feature here. We can use the NT templates, new templates. And if you want to run the template as per the web technology, for example, if the app is running on maybe using Apache server and running on the PHP application, right? So if you want to run it for against a specific technology, you can use this automatic scan. So what it will do? First, it will run the webalizer template and it will detect the technology. So once it is detected technology, it will run the template as per the technology. So it will not run other templates, right? So we can reduce the traffic and we can only run the templates according to the technology. So which is great. And if you want to specify the location of the template, then we can use the T options. So using this, you can specify the location of the template, whether it is a single location or a folder, you can do that. Like that, we have a lot of options here. So and also one thing, if you want to specify the tags, then we can use the tags template, tags option. So when we see the template here, we have seen the tags here, right? So we can specify the takeover and we can run it. Okay, so let's run the tool. We can run the API and we can use the L option and we can pass the domain. Okay, so we can pass this domain as well as sub URLs. Okay, you can do the both. So if you only include the domain, okay, so now they are automatically doing the HTTP resolution, and after that they are performing this nuclear template thing. So if you directly input the live URLs, that's also fine. So we can use the T and we can specify the template. So here the template is stored under this location. So here we can specify the takeover directory, so that all the template under this directory will be ran. Suppose if you want to run using the tags, we can specify the tags and we can specify the tags here, takeover. And we can use the word to maybe stored output, okay, txt, something like this. And if you want to see the status, you can use the status flag. Okay, so it is doing okay, it is loading the templates. Okay, so it's done 98%. And since we don't have any subdomain takeover vulnerability exist on this domain, so we are not getting any results here. Okay, great. So if you got any vulnerabilities here, we'll see highlighted there. Okay, so nice. So we can use this nuclear templates and we can run it on all targets. So which is nice. So let's talk about this AWS S3 bucket takeover. Just a simple POC. So this is the fingerprint for AWS S3. We all know. Okay, so if you see no such packet, the specific bucket does not exist, then we can say it's a vulnerable to S3 takeover. So we can take a look at the CNAME here. So if you use the dig command, so here we have the format of S3. So we have two format like public global URL and region-based URL. So in global URL, you won't see this region. What you will see bucket name and you will see .s3 and .amazonedibles.com. And in the region based, you will see the bucket name and the region as well. So here we have seen the both. Okay. So now what we can do, we can log into console and we can create the S3 service. Then you can enter the bucket name. So here the bucket name is unique. Okay, you should use the same bucket name here. So test.www.example.com. You should use the same bucket name, and you should create in the this specified region. So if the app does not have if it is hosted globally, then we no need to use the this region. We can create on any region. So once we followed all these steps, once we created, we can create the sample POC file, HTML file. So we can create the sample HTML file, then we can upload it in the S3 again. So once we upload it, so we can access it. That's all. So you'll see something like this. So if you go to, once you uploaded the file, for example, index.html file or else poc.html file, then the, if you browse to the endpoint, then you will see this takeover screenshot, takeover your file, whatever you posted, right? So it confirms the we have taken over the subdomain. So we can use it in for POC. So whenever we do this creating the POC, it's recommended to use the unguessable name. For example, instead of creating index.html file and uploading, we can create something file. We can create a unique file. So we can use, for example, you can use username or some. You can use random keywords, and you can create the HTML file. Then you can upload that, so that it won't affect their reputation, right? So company reputation. Yeah. So the next thing about fingerprints. So we have seen these fingerprints. So if this is this fingerprints is specific to S3, Amazon S3. So like that, we have a lot of can say services, and we have a lot of fingerprints. All of these services. Okay, so not for example, if you come across S3, then we can say this is the fingerprint for now. So like that, if you come across Heroku or some other third-party service, then we the fingerprints varies, right? So we can use this GitHub repo. Can I take over XYZ? Okay, so we can use this GitHub repo to and we can check if it is vulnerable or not. Okay, so here we have the engines in the first column, and we have the status and verified by CAE. Okay, then we have the domains, then we have the fingerprint, and we have the discussion. So, for example, if you come across AWS CNAME, S3 CNAME, and if you want to know if it is vulnerable, then we can check the engine column. So it's AWS S3 service, and we can check the status, and we can check the domains. And the fingerprint for the service is the specific bucket that does exist. So if the fingerprint is matching, then we can take a look. We can take a look at the POCs. Okay, so if you come across the service, and if you don't know how to get the POC, then you can look into the issues. Okay, so there will be a lot of discussion here. So you can see the POC steps also. Okay, so you can follow these steps, and you can, if you still unable to create the POC, like you can maybe you can discuss here and you can sort it out. Okay, so yeah, so we can use this repo for our subdomain takeover. So we can this is how the tools whatever we talked about Subzi, right? So Subzi and nuclear templates, right? So all those templates are written based on this GitHub repo. Great. So now let's talk about the second order subdomain takeover. So now previously we have seen the first order, so it's a second order. So here what is happening, we can look for the broken links. So maybe we can go to target application and we can check the URLs. Okay, so we can check the broken links. Okay, so these links, for example, here you can see in this application we have some other third-party domain, and it is importing the script JavaScript from this domain. Suppose if this domain is not available, it is not expired, or it is available for registration. So what we can do, we can go to Namecheap or GoDaddy, and we can register this domain. So once we claimed this domain, we can create this, we can host the JavaScript So we can create the cross-scripting payload and we can host it. So once we hosted this, right? So what happens? So whenever you visit the application, it will execute the JavaScript, right? So that's why. So it's a second order. So if they are using third-party services and if the domain is not registered, then we can register this domain and we can create the source resources and we can let the app to load from our malicious payload. So we can do a lot of things like this. So the impact of the subdomain takeover. So what is the impact? So we can do a lot of interesting things using subdomain takeover. For example, we can distribute malwares. We can do damage reputation. Maybe we can post malicious content, some 18 plus contents. We can do the cross scripting also, because since we are we are having full control over subdomain, right? So also we can monitor the server logs for cookies. Again, sometimes we can look for the sensitive information log like cookies, IP keys. If they internally you interact with our subdomains, then we can look for those sensitive information. For example, here I just ran this. I just connected this subdomain, and I have run this simple Python server. So here you can see. So once I ran this, you can see the lot of requests going through. Okay, so you can see the IPs and request all of this. So you can see if there is any internal interaction. You can look for cookies or API keys like that. You can look for interesting to be there. And the another thing, if you take over a subdomain, check if any other website importing assets from the takeover to subdomain. For example, if you take over app.example.com and if www.example.com is using app.example.com for importing resources, so like that, right? So we can host our malicious content there, and we can check if any other app is affected by this vulnerability, right? So we can maybe if they're using JavaScript file, then we can create this JavaScript file and we can pass the content, right? So we can post the content and we can there will be process scripting, right? So we can increase the impact by doing like something like this, right? So we have a lot of screenshots. So subdomain takeover screenshot from HackerOne. So we can take a look at the HackerOne. And if you open this URLs, so the first one is important one to talk. So let me open this articles. So we have so nothing new here. So we have seen everything. So here the thing is what happened. So what he did, he come across their target and he had checked for the fingerprint and he got this fingerprint. Okay, so what he thought maybe it's vulnerable, right? So he went to maybe if he went to fresh desk, and if he take a look at our maybe if he went to this GitHub repo, and if he take a look at this fingerprint, he might come across like not vulnerable, like okay. So here we have fresh desk, right? So here it is saying not vulnerable. Okay, but he did not go to the GitHub repo. So he just went to the fresh desk official website and he created an account and he tried to claim the subdomain. Okay, so here once he entered the subdomain, it's not showing anything. So it's saying it's not possible to take over. Okay, so what he did, he done the hacking here. So he used the proxy. So like they're doing only client-side validation, so they're not doing server-side validation. So what he did, he entered the domain and he intercepted this request in the web suite and he changed the value there and he sent to the server. So now the server accepted this. He allowed to create claim this as domain. So now once he claimed that, he is able to post the POC, create the POC and take over the subdomain. So now the key point here is, the thing is, he did not use this GitHub repo at the time, because if he referred to this GitHub repo and if he sees this fresh desk is not vulnerable, then he might have moved to another target then he might have missed this service completely. Okay, so he's the one, I think, finding this vulnerability, I think. Okay, so that's why we should not blindly use this GitHub repo. So we should we can use this. We have a lot of we have a lot of contribution here. So, but it's good idea to do your own hacking, do your own research. Okay, so if you come across anything like a new service, and if you see maybe if you come across an old service also, and if you see not vulnerable, maybe you can try to go to the target website and you can try your own methodology. Okay, so everybody having a unique methodology, right? So you can you can check if you are able to bypass the domain validation. That's the important thing. So once you found your own vulnerability, you can create the template and you can hunt it on a larger website, right? So that's what he did. So that's the important thing. So, and if you take a look at this second article, so this is one of the videos. So my blog here. So I think my post. Okay, so it's kind of marketing. Okay, so it's about a Fastly subdomain takeover. So I think it's done on October. Okay, October 1st. So I done this Fastly takeover. So if you guys have time, you can read this blog. So you can see how I got this how I take over this Fastly. Okay, so here we have more reports. We have like 100+ reports here. If you go to, you copy this URL and you go to Firefox, and we take a look at this URL, we have 100+ subdomain takeover reports. Okay, so you guys can go through these reports and you can read these reports. Maybe you may get some interesting ideas on subdomain takeover. And also we have they have a lot of reports like this. So for example, if you want to check the top CSR4 reports, you can use go to different page and you can take a look at these reports. This cool. Can read the reports. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all for from me. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, you may ask.
Yes, please. You can unmute yourself and ask.
You guys can also post in the chat. Maybe we could not talk. Okay.
No questions from my side.
Great.
Okay. Oliver, can you explain like can I take over XYZ again? Look at the URL.
Thank you.
So just go to the issues tab. No, that's it. Go to the issues tab.
Yeah. So
No,
right?
not this one. The latest one.
Which
Scroll
one?
up. Scroll up to the top.
Oh, okay.
Top,
So
top.
here.
Yeah, click on issues. So here you can find latest takeovers techniques. You can check like weekly. You can see it's something open 3 days ago and 2 weeks ago. You can check this third-party resource and try to look at it. If you found something, if you come across any subdomain in your organization or in a private invitation, you can check this as well. So it's good to keep up to date with the latest signatures, and you can get some money out of it.
Yes, that's great. Actually, it's takes time to go these issues from here to there, right? So,
Yeah, until
yeah.
they moved to someone going to
Yes.
take this advantage of this. So
Yeah,
make sure to check out this, and also like when you are hunting for the subdomain takeovers, don't directly using the tools. Just try to analyze those as well. The subdomains. Like if you found something there is 404 error or something, domain is not redirected to properly to this app, you should take a look at this third-party servers and try to register over there and try to add that CRM and do your own research. So it should be beneficial for you as well. If you found a 0-day, you can implement in your workflow and you can get the money out of that. Okay, I think Excellent mentioned something. You can set a watch on any new issues. I get an email any sometimes creates a new issue on the repo. Okay, I didn't know this.
Yeah,
So
that's great. I think
where should we
um,
create?
I think there will be a
We can watch, I
topic
think.
called watch.
We
I
can,
think, yeah.
yeah, we can watch the repository. So whenever something new issue is created, you will get an email notification.
Yeah, that's
That's
great.
that's good. So this is something, the subdomain takeover topic. I hope you got understanding of it. And the next topic should be on the subdomain takeovers, but finding your own zero day and doing research on your subdomain takeover techniques. It's going to be covered by Appsec. So we have next session on this subdomain takeover advanced level. I think that's it. We can end this session.
Okay.
Can you put the link blog post on the Discord chat? Yeah, we will sharing the PDF as well. Can you share that PDF?
Yeah, sure,
The
sure.
PPT. Yeah, we will be sharing that.
Yeah. So thanks so much for joining. Thanks for the patience. Okay. So
Yeah, thank you for
guys,
the session. One was part. It was a great session.
thank you, thank you. So you have actually for you guys watched for 1.5, I think 1 hour 15 minutes, which is great. So thanks for your patience. Hope you gained some knowledge out of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Bye.